Thank you, Kia. Well, family, friends, and fans are mourning the loss of 80s movie and pop culture star Corey Haim. An autopsy has yet to be performed, but an LAPD rep says it appeared that Haim had died from an accidental prescription drug overdose. And while his death may have been sudden, Corey's battle with drugs is a long story. 22 years, 15 stints in rehab, countless interventions, and yet Corey died at the age of 38, still battling his addiction. So we are getting some insight into the disease and the lifeline for those who suffer from them. The masterminds behind the #1 social networking site for recovering drug addicts and alcoholics. Please welcome Ken Pomerance and Tannebaum. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. First of all, we hear about these Hollywood tragedies far too often. People that have been battling with drug addiction, and we unfortunately lose them quite frequently. How do you feel as recovering addicts yourselves? How do you feel when you hear these stories?
I hate hearing them. It's sad. It's part of the disease, and it happens, and I think a lot of it's unavoidable.
Yeah. Any insight from before we get into In the Rooms, any insight from your perspective on why it seems to be particularly prevalent in the Hollywood community?
Well, it's money and power and availability.
Right.
It makes it easy for these people to find the drugs and to abuse the drugs. And they're sycophants. The doctors are willing to prescribe. It makes it very easy for them.
Okay. I heard Corey Haim call himself at one point a lifelong relapser. What does it take to actually break that cycle of addiction?
I think, neither of us have ever relapsed since we've been in recovery. However, it's part of the disease.
Just for today.
Yeah, we say one thing, there's one thing you have to change, and that's everything. The hardest part is not putting down the drugs, it's staying off the drugs.
Okay, and that's where In the Rooms comes in. Now, this is a wonderful concept that you guys have pioneered here, and it's, as we mentioned in the introduction there, the #1 social networking site for recovering addicts and alcoholics. Explain how you came up with this idea and how it is that it helps people in the community.
Well, I'm a photographer. I spend a lot of time on Flickr. And one day I happened to mention to somebody who was very despondent about having a daughter with a drug problem, I mentioned that I was in recovery. I've been in recovery at the time, I think it was about 25 years off of drugs and alcohol. And I put it out in the universe. I hit the send button, and people started getting back to me saying, wow, I'm in recovery. I had no idea that you were in recovery. And we had been talking every day. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if there was a place that we could go as recovering people, aside from any 12-step fellowships perhaps, but a place where we could go and support one another in recovery and share with one another. And that was it. I went into Ronnie, we were working together, and I said, what do you think about a Facebook for recovery? He says, let's do it, and we did it.
And it's working beautifully. It's InTheRooms.com, and there are 3 lifelines I want to mention quickly for those seeking help, those currently in recovery, and also for the friends and family of addicts. Before we go, I just want to ask, I had no idea that there was such a thing as a board-certified addictionologist.
Oh, yeah.
Who is that, and what does that person do?
Addictionologists are medical doctors, physicians, could be psychiatrists that specialize in the disease of addiction.
Okay, and it sounds like maybe Corey Haim could have used someone like that, and we'll hope that we don't see as many of these stories as we have seen with the help of your website. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. For more information and a link to In the Rooms, you can find it on our website. For more info at dailybuzznow.com.